Hey everyone, welcome to Screams After Midnight. I'm going to pretend that this is the first time I've introduced this episode, and it's not true. But we talk about horror movies on this show. I'm Peter, that is Tim, and this is a special episode because this is the first episode that is us doing a winner of a Patreon vote, because every month we have the
You
patrons. Yeah. You missed your camera though, Tim, you were way off.
Oh no, I'm pointing to my friend Joseph in my room. He's a patron.
Hey Joseph, how are you? Oh dear. But yeah, so every month patrons vote for a movie, and May was the first month of voting. They voted for a movie for June, and the theme of that vote was Lucio Fulci, so it was all Lucio Fulci movies, and the winner was City of the Living Dead, also known as Gates of Hell. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The current vote that's going on during June for July's bonus episode is summer themed. I know what we did last summer's in there. I think Piranha's in there. There's a few. Actually, I don't have it in front of me, and I can't remember off the top of my head. I apologize. Madman's in there. Tourist Trap.
Deadly Night.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't want to give false information. I don't have it in front of me though. But patrons can vote on that up until the end of the month, so the end of the last day of the month. You've got until then on Patreon. If you're in the $5 tier, to vote for the next bonus episode movie.
Oh, it feels good being that tier.
Tim, you're hitting me with so much today that I'm just not prepared. So before we get to actually discussing the movie, I want to point out that we actually started recording this last week, and we had technical issues, which about 15 minutes into it made us stop, and we had to wait, and we had to record it again. And as a result, this is the first of 3 movie recordings at the time of recording. You're not going to get them all back to back. You're getting them spread out through the week because... Just cause. Well, I'm not giving you all 3 episodes in one day.
Oh no.
I got to spread that content out. I want to take some time off and just sit back and enjoy the fact that we've recorded 3 in advance. It's fine, go.
You want to spread it like a nice piece of toast. You get that butter on there, spread it up and down, get all nice and buttery. You got a nice piece of toast to enjoy the whole week. No?
Oh my god. City of the Living Dead. I'm moving on, Tim. We're not dwelling on that metaphor. Moving on to the movie itself. City of the Living Dead, Lucio Fulci. Full spoilers for the movie, because I feel like...
Our second Fulci movie.
It is our second Fulci movie. Done. We did The New York Ripper, and that was way back around episode, I want to say 20-ish?
Yeah.
Long time ago.
We're just young, freshly shaven little podcast boys.
Because we're at like 130, 140 episodes now of this.
Where's the time go?
That's a good question. I think about my choices in life.
Don't think too hard.
Okay. So, City of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
First thing about this movie, I think, is the title's kind of a misdirect, because I feel like most people see City of the Living Dead, they think, oh, that's going to be a zombie movie, it's going to be like a Night of the Living Dead, going to be like a Dawn of the Dead, one of those movies.
That's going to be like my favorite movie, House of the Dead.
Who's thinking that?
My friend Joseph.
Who's your friend Joseph? Was that even on this take? I can't remember. The night's all blurring together, because as much as we started doing this last week and we had technical faults, we also started it again about 5 minutes ago, and then I realised I hadn't pressed record about 3 minutes in, and I have no idea if that Joseph joke was in this recording or in the previous one.
I feel like if your life was a movie, the camera would just pan out and it would just show that you're not even talking to anyone. You're just in a room talking to like a half drunk can of Pepsi that's like balanced on a food tray to look like a microphone. And then some doctors just watching outside the window, and they're just like, hi, man, he's on his 5th take.
Did I mention this is the first of 3 movie recordings in a row? I have 2 more of these to sit through with Tim, and he's already like this. What what hope do I have? What hope do I have?
Send biscuits.
But it's not a zombie movie, is what I was getting at. It's not really a zombie movie. Gates of Hell is actually a much more accurate title to the plot of the movie, because it's about a town. I forgot the name of the town. Dunmore, I think.
Dunwich.
Dunwich, there you go. I've done more. that was a funny joke, come on.
I liked it.
I'm proud of that joke.
I was trying to ice you, but it was a good joke.
Oh, we've got a fit of the giggles. I apologise. This episode's going to be a shambles because of this. Right, so City of the Living Dead. It's about a town called Dunwich, and in this town, because it's buried, it's because it was built on the ancient. Well, the Salem witch trials aren't ancient; they're not that old. But yeah, it's built on top of the old Salem witch trial sort of area, and because of that, it literally has the gates to hell. And this priest commits suicide. He hangs himself because he's evil, and he wants to open the gates of hell. And that starts the process, which starts a countdown to All Saints' Day. And when we hit All Saints' Day, if it's not closed, if it's not dealt with, Earth is flooded with demons and zombies and everything else and whatever on the planet.
Yeah. Say goodbye to your daily routine.
See when you pause that much before you actually hit the end of your joke, Tim, I know it's going to be bad. I know it's going to be bad. You've already set yourself up for failure at that point. And the other flip side of the movie, though, we have this psychic lady named Mary who actually has a vision of the priest killing himself at the start of the movie when she's in like a seance, and she dies as a result. She actually dies, and this reporter named Peter, this journalist, is looking for a story. He thinks this is suspicious the way she's died, and he actually goes to the cemetery. And we'll talk about this scene a bit more in depth in a second, but it turns out she's not really dead. She wakes up in the coffin.
Yeah.
And then the movie becomes they travel to the town of Dunwich because she knows something bad's going to happen. They kind of figure out they'll try to get there, and despite the fact that this is a town that functions and exists and has like people living in it, it's not on a map because of course it's not.
And you're sitting on the gates of hell. You don't really want to advertise it, you know.
They don't know that. They don't know that. Our other main characters are from the town of Dunwich. A psychiatrist named Jerry and one of his main patients named Emily.
Jerry.
Damn it, Jerry. They're like the 11 main characters who they eventually meet up once the Peter and Mary finally get to the town. They meet up
once Nick Fury brings them all together,
and they form the Living Dead Avengers. So that's kind of the movie. Really what it is, though, for most of it, right? Because obviously eventually they get together and they try and solve things at the end. A lot of this movie, though, is you get Peter and Mary kind of like, we get, her having her vision, she wakes up in the coffin, and that's like one subplot throughout the movie. The other main thing that keeps happening is we keep cutting to Dunwich after the priest has hanged himself, and weird things keep happening. Because the gates have started to come open, there's these weird things going on. There's like the people who are kind of dead and they're kind of zombies but not really, because they kind of stare at people and it makes things happen and that kind of thing. We have all these weird scenes of people throwing up their own intestines and other wacky stuff with gore.
Inflatable dolls inflating themselves. And
yeah, there's this weird character named Bob who seems normal enough, but like everyone in the town thinks he's like a weird pervert, and it's like, oh no, you can't hang around with Bob. Bob's dangerous. Because Jerry talks to his wife. He's like, no, don't hang around with Bob. Don't let you hang around with that Bob. But yeah, he finds like an inflatable sex doll, a blow-up doll, in like an abandoned house, and is then excited when it self-inflates, and he's all happy. He's like, yeah, I want to go with that. But Tim, I've summed up the movie, I think, as succinct as I should do. I really apologise for this episode. That was the least succinct description of a movie I've ever given. Tim, did you enjoy City of the Living Dead, aka Gates of Hell, aka our current movie?
Nope. I was like, oh, is there another title? No, I really like this movie a lot. I feel like I haven't seen as many Fulci movies as I should have, but the ones I have seen, I really, really enjoy. And I actually watched this for the first time last October. It was on Shudder, and I was kind of, especially during October, going through a big horror binge, and I was kind of gobbling up a lot of stuff that I've never seen before, and I watched this for the first time, and I really enjoy it. The overall story is interesting, but it's not really where it shines. What's really great about this is like you said, it's a series of vignettes of these really weird but really cool kills and gore.
It's the practical effects of these gory things that are kind of interesting. And there's a ghost coming for Tim right now, apparently, from the sounds of it. Demonic banging all around. That's kind of where it shines. The story itself is actually really simple and not that interesting.
Yeah.
So that's kind of all it is. Is they get there, they meet up with the couple. Some of them die. So, surprisingly, I actually kind of was surprised by one or two of the deaths. I wasn't expecting Peter. Certainly, I was not expecting him to die because he felt like the main character.
Yeah, and then Bob was like, Bob didn't even get killed by like a ghoul or anything. No, he was just like an angry dude.
Yeah, he sneaks into like a car in a garage. And I said that the American way, just so people would understand it. Garage for people of my my own heritage.
Car hole.
I think car house would have made more sense than car hole.
It's an old Simpsons joke.
Oh, was it? Okay. I'm sorry, Tim. I didn't get your terrible Simpsons reference.
Oh, it's okay. It's only one of the greatest shows of all time, but that's fine.
Maybe before it went on like 15 seasons too long.
All right, but you can't discount those first like 7 or 8 seasons are pure gold, and they still hold up to this day.
They ain't.
Jesus. What a wanker.
I have not watched an episode of The Simpsons in about 15 years, maybe more.
I still go back and watch those early seasons from time to time. I still quite enjoy them.
The last Simpsons thing I saw was the movie. And when I saw the movie, it had been like 5 years since I'd watched an episode.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes for like a lot of people like around our age range. A lot of people fall off. But
our age range? Am I not a millennial, Tim?
Hey, you're only like, what, 3 years younger than me?
Do you know what I like about that joke, Tim? Is that people who are just watching, if this is your first episode of Screams, that was nothing to you. But if you're a regular watcher of the show, that joke just made you bust a gut. Congratulations, Tim, that was good.
So we're talking about The Simpsons.
No, we're talking about City of the Living Dead.
All right.
More specifically. And
But yeah, Bob. We're talking about Bob's death scene.
Yeah, Bob's death scene. Bob. So we see him running around. He almost runs into one of the zombie things at one point, and he has his run with the blow-up doll. Fear for his life. And he ends up leaving that scene because there's lots of like maggots and bugs and stuff, and like a doll kind of thing. A different doll, not a sex doll. He's practically in a doll factory, basically. I mean, I wonder if that exists. I wonder if there exists a factory that in one end of the factory makes sex dolls, but in the other end of the factory makes regular dolls for kids.
I hope there is, because if there is, then at one point there had to have been a screw up where someone was sent like the wrong doll.
Hey Becky, we got your doll for Christmas. Open your present. Rips off the wrapping paper. Mommy, why is she naked?
I'm glad you went that way instead of the opposite would just be a guy going like, oh yeah, here's my doll. Then
he's already unzipped. He's got it out. Yeah. He's already primed it, is what I'm saying. Yeah. And he opens it, and it's just a regular doll. And he just kind of looks at it, looks at his penis, looks back at the doll, and he's like, well, if you got lemons, make lemonade. Oh god, that's really sick.
Look for that this summer in Annabelle Origins.
I believe it's Annabelle Creation, Tim.
Alright, my bad.
You horror wannabe fan.
I'm sorry, I'm not the big Annabelle fan like you are.
So we'll finish Bob's death scene someday. So Bob just gets into like this car, and the girl who lives there, and she's late teens or whatever, because I think Bob's also in his teens. And she comes in and she's like, and he's like, oh, don't tell your dad I'm here because he'll get angry and kick me out. She's like, oh no, I won't. And then she gets in the car with them, and they start to, do whatever, have a bit of fun. They get friendly. Yeah. She seems to be okay with Bob, but then her dad comes out, and he like rips her out of the car, and he's upset, and he starts like hitting at Bob, and he turns on this his drill. It's a drill with like a slider. It's like it's on a bench. It's not like a freehand drill.
Yeah.
And he basically pushes Bob's head into the drill. And it is gloriously like it's a great practical effect. It looks great. I love it.
And now, as I'm watching this, you kind of think,
although it's absurdly how long it takes to push his head onto the drill, though, because we really get that. It's kind of like that scene like a Bond movie where Bond's on the tray getting into the furnace, but it's like it's like taking so long to get there. That's what it feels like.
But then, like you've watched sitcoms and stuff before, so that trope of like the angry dad who's threatening the young boyfriend or whatever. So you kind of think that's what it's going to be. Like, he's going to turn on the drill, and then he's holding his head, and you're like, all right, he's not really going to kill him. And then you're like, oh, wait, this dad totally just killed this guy.
I think what the movie's saying here is that it's because the gates are opening, and it's making people crazy. I think that's what it's getting at.
Maybe.
It's not just that this guy is actually that crazy that he would kill this Bob.
That's one possibility, but I wouldn't put it past this Fulci guy.
I'm just saying that makes a lot of sense to me. I want to talk about the scene where, because Mary, as we said, dies in her seance when she gets this vision of the priest hanging himself, which is a great image, by the way, of a priest like just setting up a noose in a tree in a cemetery hanging himself.
Oh sure, yeah. There's some pretty cool, creepy imagery.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But she dies, and Peter the journalist is looking around. He tries to question the police. He tries to question everyone involved. He goes to the cemetery. He runs into the two guys that are actually burying her, and the two of the laziest people on planet Earth. Which,
thank God.
they're eating their lunch, and they're just wasting time talking about girls. And then later on, like they shovel half of the dirt in, and then they're like,
not even half. They do like 3 scoops.
Oh, whatever. It's a few scoops.
It's
right?
There's like a light dust on the coffin.
And then they go, oh wait a minute, it's 5 o'clock. Quitting time. It's quitting time. Yeah, we'll come back and finish tomorrow. Proper lazy, right? But basically, Peter's there as well, and as he's walking away, she wakes up in the coffin and she starts screaming, and it cuts back out to him, and he sort of turns around, he's like, I'm going to act this out, okay? I'm going to act this out.
Peter will be playing the role of Peter.
Keeps walking. Cuts back to her, and she's doing more screaming. She maybe starts banging on the lid of the coffin. Keeps walking. And she starts banging really loudly. Starts, proper banging. Oh my god! And then he runs over. But it lasts so long. Because see when it fakes you out the first time, and he turns around, you think, oh, right, this is where he's going to notice, and he's going to like start walking back and hear her more clearly as he's walking. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't. He turns back around and he thinks, oh, it's a fake out. He doesn't hear her. It's going to be a dark, buried alive moment. And then it happens again, and it happens again, and then eventually it does go back, and he's like, oh my god. Next thing I want to point out is his method of getting her out of the coffin. He grabs the pickaxe and he swings it at the coffin, and it lands like an inch away from her face. Like, you almost killed her. you just heard her in time to save her life, and you almost killed her. And then he does it again, and it lands on the other side of her face. And then he does it again, and it just lands in front of her nose. He almost kills her like 3 times. It's like, oh.
And I think I mentioned this the first time we recorded, but I'm going to say it again because I really like the analogy. But it feels like if you're playing a video game, like a Telltale game that has multiple choices for an action, and they always have like 3 that are like normal, like, one would be, oh, do you call out for help? Then the second one would be like, do you open the coffin? Then the third one would be like, do you call the police? And then there's always that last really crazy one, which would be, do you pick up an axe and start chopping where her face would be? I feel like that they just went straight for that last crazy option.
No, I I concur with that assessment. And I'm annoyed because I'm sure I had a good joke as well in the first recording last week, and I don't remember it, and now it's just lost in the annals of time, and it's upsetting me.
Yeah, buddy, of course you did. You had a real funny joke, man. Yeah.
I hope you get bobbed. I hope you get bobbed. I want you to know that.
Lord knows I've been close.
I mean, come on, people. Would you trust this man? You can tell Tim wasn't paying attention there for a couple of seconds.
It took me a second to look. I was like, oh, what the?
Would you trust that man with your daughter? I don't think you would. I don't think you would at all. Where were we? We were talking about the movie. We finished Bob's death scene. We got to the coffin. We finished the coffin. Good. So they team up. They decide to come to Dunwich, and we have our standard. They pull over somewhere. They talk to another priest, and he's like, "Why do you want to go there? It's just it's evil and stuff." There's a lot of characters in the town we kind of meet for one or two scenes. I mentioned earlier on someone pukes up their own like organs. This is a scene where the priest appears in front of this car. Like this car that's parked and the couple are making out, and he stares at her so intently, and this is like his power, that she starts vomiting. She starts crying blood first, and then she starts vomiting all of her intestines and organs and kidneys and whatnot.
And this is another great scene that kind of similar to the Peter scene. I thought would be a little shorter. But it goes on for a while. Like they really made sure, like, let's make sure it's all of her guts.
Actually, do you know what I want to mention here that we've not brought up yet? Is how good the music is. Because I feel like the two things you come to this movie for, you come for the really stylized gore and the cool sort of atmosphere that it brings, but the music is phenomenal. Every time like the drum beats would kick in, it'd be like boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom. Like it had that pulse to it that made it feel like it's it's bad. And there's a lot of the tracks that feel like they almost could go into a rock song. Like it's almost like the opening bars to a rock song before it kicks in.
Well, it's funny you mention that because like earlier when you're saying the alternate title Gates of Hell, like one of my first thoughts was like, oh, that sounds like a metal album or something.
It kind of does. So no, I like the movie a lot. As much as I'm making fun of a lot of the scenes and I'm poking fun at some of the various elements.
But no, it is a very enjoyable, very watchable movie. Like there's a little bit of cheese, but it's not like super cheesy.
It is cheese. Like a lot of the Italian horror movies of the time, it's really badly dubbed for a lot of it. And that's the sort of thing you get over quite quickly.
Now, would this be considered a giallo film? Or is that more like kind of like slasher-y?
Yeah, I think that has to be more of a... I don't think Lucio Fulci actually made what I'd call giallo a lot of the time. Like Argento made a lot of that. Unless my definition is wrong, unless it's just any Italian horror movie of this time period, in which case fair enough, but I don't think it is.
I feel like there's a certain... like I don't know the strict definition of it. I usually kind of just go by feeling of it. But yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to actually see what the technical term, definition is.
All the movies that come to my head when I think of giallo is it's all Argento. It's Suspiria, Bird with the Crystal Plumage, Deep Red. All those movies are kind of what spring to mind. But that's kind of that. So Peter dies, as does Emily. Ends up being Mary and Jerry who are left at the end. And
John.
Oh, and right, we'll get to John.
Okay.
The kid, of course. His entire family dies. And he's orphaned. He's basically going to be Batman. That's essentially what they're setting up. This kid's going to be Batman. But when we get to the end of the movie, if I have a criticism about the ending, it's kind of like it's almost too easy. Like they figure out how to beat them.
Yeah.
They just kind of do it in one scene. It's really easy. And they just sort of like melt and it's done kind of idea. But that's kind of it. And but the ending's weird though. Like the actual very ending, because they come back up because they're in the crypt. They go through like a sort of crypt sort of entrance in the cemetery that's meant to be above the gates of hell. and they go through and they find the priest and they find all this weird stuff, and essentially the portal itself, I imagine, and they defeat the threat. They saved the planet. The world's been saved. They come back up, and John, the kid, who they had with them for a while before they went down into the crypt, they saved him after his entire family were murdered in his house. Because I think it was his sister that was in the car, if I remember right.
Oh yeah,
That spew up her guts.
Yeah.
And then she came for the parents. He comes running towards them, at first all happy, and then the music gets really sinister, and it cuts back to Mary and Jerry, and they both look shocked, and she screams. It freeze frames, and the movie ends. It cuts to credits,
and the screen just kind of like cracks and falls apart.
You're right, actually. Yeah, there's like an effect. You're right, and that's the end of the movie. And I, for the life of me, have no idea what that final, like, why they're scared of John running towards them. It makes no goddamn sense. There's nothing there. I did a little bit of digging.
Ooh.
I was curious. Apparently, there's various reports as to what the fault was.
Okay.
The most common one is that the editor spilled coffee on the film.
What?
Right, there was more. There was like another part to the ending.
Okay.
But the film was somehow ruined. The most popular theory is the editor spilled coffee on it, which is, Jesus Christ, good luck getting another job, editor. But apparently, like, Fulci wanted to go back and reshoot the ending so that he finished it, and the studio, whoever's funding it, didn't let him. That from a little bit of research, that seems to be what happened. So
Jesus.
That's how it ended. And really, all I would have done is I would have cut earlier. I'd have faded to black as they were coming out the crypt, and just like that's the ending.
But like, all right. So in your research, though, did it say what it was supposed to be? Like, was
no one knows?
John? Oh, like Fulci never said.
I don't think so. I couldn't find anything.
Fulci, what's going on, brother? What?
Well, I don't think it was his fault. I think he wanted to, shoot more to round it up. But
I'm saying, like, why didn't he ever, like, say like
somewhere
like, oh,
I mean, I didn't search that hard. Like, it may exist. That said, though, the fact that
you started digging and then 5 o'clock quitting time came and
shut up. The fact that I googled ending question, Sight of the Living Dead ending, and it came up with results of people asking what the hell, and then the responses not knowing the answer but theorizing and talking about the film being ruined, probably suggests that he never did come out and say, "Oh, that's what the ending was going to be."
Yeah,
that's what
it's strange.
But
maybe she just really didn't like John.
Fun goes. And also, I want to mention, there's a lot of bugs and stuff in this movie, like a lot of maggots and snails and that kind of thing.
Creepy crawlies.
Yeah. There's a scene where they're trying to deal, they're in one of the houses or whatever in the town. It's all four of them are still there, and before I mean Peter, Mary, Jerry, Emily, the four sort of main adults, and all these maggots start flying through the window. It's like biblical plague kind of thing, and it's landing in their face. It's in their mouth. It is so disgusting. I was cringing. Ugh. Again, it's a very we just debated if it was called a giallo, but it's a very Italian horror movie from this era kind of thing, to whip out the maggots and the snails and the worms and
I was into it.
Of course you were. Of course you were, you sick bastard. But no, that's anything we've glossed over, Tim, that you want to talk about. Acting, music, direction.
I think we hit on most of it. Like you said, the music is really good.
It's really good. Direction, I quite like. I think Fulci's a good director, which is why, even though there's some really cheesy moments, like the build up to his scares are really good. Like the build up to the creepy moments, really good.
I feel like I still haven't seen enough of his stuff. Like I definitely watched more. I think there's quite a bit of his movies on Shudder. But I still feel like I've probably only seen maybe 5 or so. I'm excited. He's definitely a dude though that I'm excited. When I find a movie I haven't seen this one yet.
I have no doubt we'll end up, even though obviously the others lost the vote, I have no doubt we'll end up doing them at some point. I have no doubt we'll end up doing all of his big stuff as time goes on. Zombie 2 is going to happen.
Nice.
It's coming. It'll happen at some point. I don't know when, but we're definitely going to do that at some point.
Tomorrow.
What, 3 tonight's not enough for you, Tim? Jeez. Ah, dear. But that is, I guess that's Set of the Living Dead. Sorry if that one was a bit more erratic than normal. That's what happens when we had to postpone the recording for like half a week because there was technical faults. But that's what happens. But it's a good movie. It's if what we describe sounds fun, good music, good style, cheesy characters and cheesy acting, and some bad dubbing, sure, but really good gore stuff, good music. So I would rank it. I wouldn't rank it in the best of Fulci stuff because he does have genuinely better movies above this, but
Yeah.
solid stuff, solid fun.
And this is and I believe this is actually the start of his kind of unofficial trilogy.
What is the unofficial trilogy, Tim?
I think it starts with this and then The Beyond, and I forget what the third one is, but there's yeah, like if
House
you
by the Cemetery, perhaps.
yeah, I think that's the one.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. But you know, like kind of how you know, like Argento has you know, his like unofficial trilogy where, you know, it's not like a 1, 2, 3 movie,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
that's kind of similar themed.
Thematically, it's like
There you go. Great. Yeah.
Anyway, Tim, that leads us to ratings. What would you rate City of the Living Dead, aka Gates of Hell, aka give me your answer, you dick.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I really like this. Kind of like dancing between 7.5 and an 8. I think I'm gonna give it a 7.5. I really like that. I think there's a lot of good stuff, but I feel like at the end of the day, you know, it's definitely not my favorite Fulci, and it's not one that I'm in a super excited rush to watch again, even though I, you know, watch it twice within, you know, relatively short period of time. But yeah, I think I'll go for 7.5.
I think the plot's kind of not up to any particular standard enough that
Yeah.
I think I land on a sort of solid 7. But it gets to 7 for the things I've mentioned: the gore, the music, the overall atmosphere, the direction. That's what I like about it. But that is definitely 7 out of 10 for me. So that's City of the Living Dead. Well, I guess that wraps up the episode. Let us know what you thought of it in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. Head over to patreon.com/mailedfuzztv if you want to support the channel, support this show and what we do. You get obviously those bonuses related to the horror movie sort of stuff that we do and everything else, including, as we said, the vote and the $5 tier. But yeah, have a look, see what you like. Some of the goals are horror movie related, where me and Tim will do extra stuff should we hit certain amounts. So have a look.
We'll spend a night in a abandoned cabin in the woods. I'm not sure what goal that is, but
You think after seeing that I'm going to spend the night in a cabin with you? You really think that, Tim? But yeah, have a look. But once again, guys, thank you very much for watching. We'll be back very soon. As I said, we're recording 3 episodes tonight, so you get one every couple of days for the next week.
whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Keep watching scary movies. We'll see you next time.